care of that. We've already approved the January 3rd minutes, and the January 23rd wasn't included in our packet, so we'll approve those at the next meeting. We are on to informational items, and we have Board of Health. Care and treatment. Okay. EMA, I don't see anybody here.
There's an EMA training going on right now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Next, we have the Regional Office of Education.
One today?
You are.
Do you want me to stand?
Well, we
it's been a
have-
hot second since we've been in here. You want me to stand here, go up there?
You can come up there if you want. Wherever you want.
I would love to use the podium.
Place to put your papers.
Put your hands on it, very presidential like.
My fellow Americans.
In charge.
Save your questions for the end. I got myself together this month and put an update in your packet, but there was a few things that I wanted to highlight. Oh, this is so weird, I'm sorry. Let's see here. I got to speak to you guys, the Greater Peoria Economic Development Council and the group that does the whole leadership school. That event is spectacular, and I like speaking for that every year, and it's just interesting to talk to people and hear their ideas, because I kind of open up the floor and ask them, if you could change the American high school, what would you do? Because the way we do school right now is not working, and it's just interesting to hear their ideas. That was a great event. The Love You Guys was very successful. I would encourage you as a Peoria County to look into their work, because it very succinctly, color-coded, detailed of when there's an emergency. Because we get caught in, is it a soft lockdown? Is it a medium lockdown? It very clearly spells out the steps, and it can be used not only in schools, but in all organizations, churches, whatnot. I would highly recommend. All their stuff is free. It's on their website. That was a great event. I met with the new chancellor at Methodist College because I'm joining their board, and because I joined their board, I asked them to host my summer retreat for the Emerging Workforce Alliance. We're going to be hosting that this summer. We went down to the CAT Visitor Center, and folks, that was a great event because they hosted us as a curriculum collaborative. So this is, think all your school districts sending principals and curriculum coordinators and whatnot that talk about reading, math, all the subjects, and they did the most amazing STEM presentation. And so there's this new surge to come back to STEM, specifically around robotics. Have you seen robotics teams out there? That's such a great way to get kids involved in STEM. And then the Lego Leagues, that is for more the K-8 before they go into robotics. So we have kind of a new push and a new surge for that here in Peoria County. The Education Symposium. I regret to inform you that Jimmy was your representative to that, and he always has lots to say, and even more unfortunate is he was stuck at the table with Monica. So she had to listen to it twice, but the two of them together, it was a powerful event with all kinds of community members, and we have now taken that, synthesized it, and we're having a leadership team meeting on Monday because we got lots of great ideas from that. At that event, we passed this out, so I brought a copy for you. It says, what can the Peoria County Regional Office of Education 48 do for you? We had lots of new flyers and handouts, and we've posted them all in the hallway. So that's all changed in our display boards out there, so please check them out. But I'll bet you don't know half of what's on here. I am betting, because most of those people don't work in this building. So I brought copies of that to share with you, and that's from the symposium. I'm gonna come back to the literacy thing, because I'm gonna issue a charge with that. And our new big federal grant. We got a Perkins Innovation Grant. So ICC's grant team wrote the grant because when the Secretary of Education from, like the DC, Washington, Federal Department of Education was here, we hosted him at Woodruff. And he was so impressed with some of the different things that were going on, and he was impressed with Dr. Quirk Bailey because she is a rock star. So when that grant came out, we were asked to write for it, and we said, no, we don't think we can get it together in time. And they said, no, you need to write for it. And we said, okay. So we pulled that thing together, and it's a $3 million investment in a regional hub for students to get internships, apprenticeships, and job shadows. So the partners on that grant are Peoria Public Schools, Illini Bluffs, and Pekin, ICC, Skills USA, and the Building Trades, all trying to design this concept of regionally if we have a hub and schools want kids to give these experiences, we can coordinate at the regional level. That way, not everybody is calling Caterpillar. That drives me nuts. So, Washington High School calls and Dunlap High School calls. And so how do you coordinate that work at a regional level will make us much more effective. And I'm super excited that this grant could help get us there. And we will be hiring staff for that. ICC wrote it and is a major partner, but when it comes to the employees and being the regional hub, they're going to pass that off to the regional office of education. And last but not least, my bullet point number 7. Our literacy numbers out there right now do not look great. As a matter of fact, they look worse than it's scary. Post-COVID, we were already on a slide before COVID, and it's even worse post-COVID. So I've now had 2 meetings at what I'm going to call community-based organizations, schools, lots of people around the table putting forth some efforts. So if you might have an interest in any of these 3 groups, this is an open invitation to join us and help do something about it. So we have one group meeting on what we just call books. How do we get more books in more kids' hands? Think the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, you have to have matching funds. So everybody's bringing their funds to the table, they're bringing their ideas, and we're trying to braid it all together. So how do we get books in kids' hands? You can count the books in a home, and that will determine their success in school. Did you know that? Did you know a kid had to be read to for 6,000 hours before they can learn how to read? That is not happening. So we need to figure out how to get books in their hands. So Dolly Parton Imagination Library, where can we put books? How do we get people to get their book boxes back out in doctor's offices because they put them all away in COVID? So that group is working on books in kids' hands. The other group is working on family events. Think like summer reading, go to the library, family education, all those kinds of things. And a third group is working on professional learning. How can we get community organizations to teach more about how do you read to your kid? What if you can't read? Can you look at the pictures together? What are the other options for that? So we're trying to get professional learning in the hands of not just teachers, but community organizations. Do you want to host something? We'll do a workshop for you. Join us. We meet at 9:30 every other Monday. So we just met this week. We've been meeting in 2 weeks. We need all hands on deck. We need all funding streams. Do you host a little reading event? I don't care what it is. Join us, and we're trying to forge that together. I'm all about collaboration. We cannot do it alone anymore. It just doesn't work. And I think that's the last thing on my list. Oh, there was something else in my mind and I forgot what it was. I was going to give you another challenge. Got it. Truancy. We had the best meeting yesterday with State's Attorney Goose, and we've had some turnover in staff. We have a brand new homeless liaison. His name's Bobby Anderson. He's also a Peoria firefighter, so he works for us part-time and for them. Again, truancy, we have a lot of work to do. And just a reminder, in the school code, in the laws of the state of Illinois, it is the county's responsibility to take on truancy. So we're figuring out how to get back to the court system. We are figuring out how we can reach more families, but I need more resources. And if there was ever an opportunity, I've got people out there knocking on doors. I've got people out there putting the door hanger when they won't answer the door. We are relentless, but we need more people. I could put my entire staff at Pleasant Hill and Pleasant Valley. I could put my entire staff at Manual. I could put my entire staff at Glen Oak. So if there is ever a way we could have a conversation as a county, if we want to really take this on, and if you don't think it's urgent, last week a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old robbed a business on Sterling, armed robbery, a gun that I have no idea how they got it. They were all arrested, and the first flag that went up was truancy. So how do we get to it earlier and sooner? So that's my pitch. I'm always open for that conversation. So that is something we can certainly work on together. All right, thanks.
Did you say that the county is more responsible for truancy than the school district is?
The county is responsible for truancy in the law.
The school district is not responsible?
The school district is responsible in the sense that they are constantly monitoring it and doing everything that they can. As a matter of fact, I have coaches that go to each school, especially in Peoria, to each school and coach them how to set up an attendance team and what they need to be doing before they refer it to the county, which is us, through my office, Peoria County Target.
Beth, you mentioned books in kids' hands. Is that open for everyone? Anyone?
That, we want everyone. We've got, in that room I have retirees, I have community agencies, the United Way came this week, I have school districts, Bright Futures came, early childhood people are in the room. What other agencies were there? YMCA was there yesterday. Yeah, it's everyone. It's
And where?
all, it's all
Where do
hands
you-
on deck.
Where? What do
We
you
will
need?
be at the Lakeview Library. I will send the information on and make sure that gets in your hands. We would love to have you. We want an Alpha Park event, so I would love to talk to you. We want a limestone centered event. And a Chillicothe centered event. And Dunlap. Those are our 3 big targets.
What skill sets would people need to support the truancy effort? So if somebody said, hey, I want to offer my skill or my talent, but most people aren't wired to knock on the door and have the right words. So do you have training, or is there a certain requirement for someone to help truancy?
If we're gonna hire staff, you have to be able to make home visits, and you have to be able to go where those children are. So I wanna be honest about that. And so we need people that understand the communities and that can go to the nether reaches of Illini Bluffs and all the way up to Princeville and all the way around to Chillicothe and in the heart of the 61605. Now, we divide that up. So you're not responsible for all of that, but you do need to have that skill set as hired staff to be able to do that. Besides that, it's just the message, the attendance counts, because we have the opposite problem in other school districts. We are getting letters from people's lawyers when we send out attendance things because you've missed 4 weeks due to being on family vacations. It's a serious problem in some of our districts because that is chronic attendance and that impacts the school and what's on their school report card. So we have a weird set of problems coming together that is coming out as chronic truancy and absenteeism, and every absence counts. Of course, we want you to stay home when you're sick. But a 3-week trip to Europe impacts education and what's on the school's report card just as much as the chronic truant that stays home for 3 weeks.
Can you tell us that process of, so that I get how I know that the county is connected to, but how you may not understand that the school collects the information, how many days a student is out, at what point does it go on the truancy list? I know, it's a lot.
I need my hands for this.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then it goes to you guys.
I think of everything in triangles because triangles is the intervention system we use in schools. So think of it this way. Green is what you do for everybody, yellow for some, red for just the few. So green is promoting good attendance in the school, putting out good messages, the school sending out robocalls, the school saying, hey, everybody, I know it's only a half day tomorrow, but we need to see you, giving out attendance incentives, having parties and that kind of thing. So that's what we do for all kids. Yellow is once you hit a certain amount of absences in the school, and it should be like 4 or 5, we coach them. A letter goes out, contact is made from the school. Several schools have staff that make that phone call. Hey, we've missed you, Steve. Where have you been? You know, like, we want you back, that kind of thing.
And so that includes excused and unexcused absences?
That's unexcused.
Unexcused, okay. So because like a 4-week holiday in Europe is probably excused. The parent probably wrote a note or called and said they're gonna be out.
And so we work with certain parents too, that if the kid is just missed for 3 days and we have no contact and we call you and they say, oh, well, she's had pneumonia. Okay, we'll clear that up in the system. The system generates those numbers, okay? The system where they enter the attendance on Skyward, that's what generates that Camille's got 8 absences and we need to get to mom or guardian or grandma or wherever Camille is at. So then when it hits the red and it goes to their attendance team, they've they've sent somebody, they've made a call and nothing's happening, then there is a referral to my team. But it had to get through that first to come to us. So now we got a problem. So now my team takes the referral and says, okay, Jennifer, knock, knock, knock. Hi, we're here from Project Target. You know, Lucy's not been in school and we want to know how we can help because that's the approach we take. So we have uniforms, We have bus passes. We have lice kits. We have air mattresses. We have food. We'll set you up for your doctor's appointment, and we just got a van. We will take you. If you need the service, we will help you. We can refer you to mental health. We can refer you to substance abuse. We try to link you up to those services you need. But the missing piece has been connecting to the state's attorney. Because when we work through that, green is us knocking on your door, hanging door hangers, bugging you till you talk to us. Then I have a person at yellow that's like a social worker that will go down deep and do a case study with you and try to really help put a plan together for your family. If that doesn't work, I'll be honest, we have a family in Illini Bluffs. We can see the 2nd grader and 5th grader playing video games on the couch with dad, and they don't answer the door. Nothing. A police officer's been out, the principal's been out. We have sent people to the house. So what happens, so now we are connected to the state's attorney to put in that final piece because it's time to go to court.
The staffing like at Project Target?
So right now, I have Christy Hubbard is a student services coordinator, and she's just the director coordinator, fielding calls, organizing staff, getting things done. Kara Pence is the director of Project Target. That's my City of Peoria violence prevention funding. She's organizing a truancy advisory board for wraparound services. She is also going to schools and coaching them on their process, trying to help get them together. Then in the field, I've got 2 people assigned full-time to Peoria Public Schools, and then they divide up all the schools. Bobby Anderson, my new homeless liaison, has a few schools in addition to the homeless liaison duties. I've got Angelo Parker, who kind of works the county. That's kind of a big job,
Yeah.
but Peoria is the bulk of our referrals. And then we have a part-time person that we share with Peoria Public Schools that helps us as well, and that's Marcellus Jordan. And part of that staff is based at the wraparound center at Treewood. But so let's go back to the Illini Bluffs example. You're the 2nd grader and 5th grader sitting at home. What is that outcome? So if we could get the state's attorney involved now until it's the sheriff and Jamie and Jody all working, at some point, you've got to prevent that to stop it from being up at that level. And I could give you more examples if you want them. I've got lots. Jody asked us, well, can you bring, are you ready? Do you have 10 cases? And we're like, only 10? One more example. We have a mother that is experiencing extreme health concerns because of being morbidly obese. She keeps the kids at home to help her. To go get this, I need this. Can you we need your kids in school. So that's where we're at with some of these families. And these are all over the county. This is not just a Peoria problem.
Just a real quick question. How many students you think are not even on our radar that are in that additive list of, they're out there somewhere, we don't even know who they are?
Last year was the 7 and 10-year-old we found that had never been in school. That happens more than, the 14, and 16-year-old that committed the crimes last week of armed robbery and assault with a deadly weapon, they weren't enrolled in school. So I have several examples of that, but we don't know till we find them. So I can't give you a number. And I don't have the staff to do the investigation of who used to be on your roll and who's there now. We tried.
Thank you. Maybe we can set something up next week.
I would love to see that. Phil's talking.
Hi, Phil. Yeah.
I didn't know whether you were finished with Beth or not, but one thing that teachers have always advocated in regard to truancy is this particular axiom, and that is you can't teach an empty seat, and that's why truancy, cutting down on truancy is so important and so forth. And I'll speak more to it, but I know you guys want to listen to me over the phone and so forth. But going back to Beth on number 7, which I listened to you about the Peoria County reasons. So you said getting books in the doctor's office so forth, and that's very important. But also, did you ever think much about barbers? Barbers, they have a lot of kids come in to get their haircuts and so forth, and that's a great place. I know I've advocated that to some barbers. In fact, I've even tried to help them financially. Some of the kids that have become barbers that I've had as students, and they would buy books for young kids. Of course, the kids like they love those books with a lot of pictures in them and so forth, and sometimes there's not a whole lot of things to read, and so but still it is something that occupies them, and gets them steered in the right direction. So, and my question for you, Beth, is when you guys have that meeting at 9:30 on Mondays, where do you meet?
We're meeting at Lakeview Library, and we had put all the book, we distributed book boxes, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of book boxes all throughout Peoria County in about 2019. And then somebody told us we had to put the book boxes away, and so, with COVID, all the book boxes, that's not my fault, I was just joking, but all the book boxes, so Nicole Bierke, I was down in her office talking to her, and I saw her book box, and I'm like, get that out now. So they're out there. We just got to remind them that they're there and to bring them back out, because we got to get back on it. But yes, thank you. We will get back on that.
Thank you, Phil.
Okay.
All right, jump back to the Board of Health. Board of Health update?
Sure. I'm sorry about that. It's actually my own fault, and I deserve it because I have to follow up that, and that's always an impossible task, so I deserve that. A couple of things in terms of the Board of Health. We actually started partnering with the University of Illinois Chicago School of Public Health in December as part of a vast workforce development project. It's actually teaching all of our staff at all levels Leading Systems of Change Institute. And so we've been tackling what we consider large priority issues. Some of them are health, some of them are actually internal events, such as like workforce development, health literacy, things of that nature. And so we started that project, and it will actually go all the way into the summer, and we have different sessions and kind of groups working through it. But just kind of give you a little bit of a background behind it. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention provided the state of Illinois a grant for workforce development. They started the project and kind of delineating it, and so this is one of the pilot programs that we just volunteered ourselves to be a testing for. And so not only for the Illinois Department of Public Health, but now also Iowa will be adopting it as part of it. So we are pretty much setting the curriculum for workforce development on this topic throughout 2 states. So we're very excited about that here locally. In your packet, it was a December, I believe, a Board of Health meeting. I wanted to give you a little bit of update. The governor released his budget for legislation for 2025. We did see a substantial decline in the local health protection grant. In 2024, we saw a $6 million increase, which brought us to $25 million for the entire state. That's 102 counties, 96 health departments. The local health protection grant is our core funding source for infection control, wastewater, food safety, and drinkable water. It has ever covered 100% of our work that we do as a certified local health department. We were excited to see a $6 million increase last year. To see $5 million reduced to actually make just a net gain of $1 million is pretty hard for locals to imagine. For us locally, last year we saw only a $40,000 increase, but that's still a lot for us. And so we are going to be advocating the different Illinois Public Health Association, the Northern and Southern Public Health Departments, as well as Central, are all advocating to bring back that $5 million. But again, it was a little bit disheartening because it was such a substantial increase to some of our core funding that we've not seen change for decades. So we hope to keep advocating for that as well. And then last night, our Board of Health met. We got kicked out of the library almost, right, Betty? For our late meeting. But with that in mind, we did, our board, as part of its advocacy, does create position statements. And so we annually review them and update them. So last night, they did adopt a new position statement related to gun violence, which included not only some of the work in terms of high-risk interventions, but also safe storage. which we are actually partnering with the Sheriff's Department and the ROE office on gun locks that were issued to the Health Department. So we're working to put them out through education material through the school districts, but also our Sheriff's Department is partnering with us, and we also are working with healthcare providers. If you have small children, you know that one of the early assessments that you guys get done is about the age of your home for lead testing reasons. Similarly, talking to providers about comfortability and asking about whether or not guns are available in your home, whether they're locked or not locked, and if they're not, providing them with free gun locks. And so again, it's another type of way to just decrease firearm violence in our county. I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Do you have anything for care and treatment or EMA?
Nothing for care and treatment, and then EMA, Jason did provide an update on kind of activities. He is gearing up, I can tell you that, for our fun weather season that will kick off here. Maybe it's actually starting this week even. And so we are working to making sure that all of our volunteers that assist us weather watching, as well as our siren systems, are operational and working correctly as we kind of start the spring season.
Great. Okay, moving on to sustainability. Becca?
She wants to put it.
She's with you. She has a
Well, she has a
presentation.
presentation, she has to have the podium.
If it's okay, I'll just do the update real quickly and
Yeah,
then do the
yeah,
PowerPoint.
absolutely.
How do I advance? Am I here? The mouse will work. So super quick updates for sustainability that are included in the packet. Electronics collections. West Peoria did have a meeting with them to help with their collection that they do annually for electronics, just to sort of take some of the burden off of them and see if we can make it run a little bit more efficiently and allow them to collect a little bit more from their residents. Tire collection, I think I mentioned at the last committee, but it was not in the update, that we were granted a unit of local government tire collection for June. So working with Highway for that, and of course other townships and municipalities to make sure that we're capturing any tires that they've collected from dumping, essentially. CPACE, I was able to do another education event, still no projects, but able to do another education event last January, on January 30th. The Farm Bureau has been a great partner. And I presented to 35 people along with farmers, of course, along with Ameren and then someone from the U.S. Department of Agriculture talking about the REAP program and how we could bundle those three programs together for farmers to encourage them to do more efficiency on their farms. The sustainability update, I'll just move to that real quickly. I do have energy usage for all of 2023 included in the packet, both electric and natural gas. You'll see a considerable decrease, 17% overall for all of the buildings. Of course, keeping in mind that the health department is not included in that. So that is a big reduction. If you pull the health department out, it still was a 13% overall reduction, so pretty big for electrical. And then also natural gas, 2 large projects that were put into place the last couple of years have made a big impact with a 24% reduction, 22 over 23 again. So that also has a big impact. And so should I stop there for questions or?
Yes, does anybody have any questions?
Would you make mention of disposal of paint?
Yes, absolutely. So latex paint at this point, a couple things. Latex paint at this point can be landfilled. There's no regulations against that. It just needs to be dry. It's messy. It's almost entirely water-based, or it is water-based, but very low organic compounds in there that are an issue. Any oil-based paint does need to be held for household hazardous waste collection, or extended producer responsibility was passed for paint. We'll be rolling out next year. So this year we're putting partner organizations in place so that you will be able to take back any paint that you purchase back to hopefully hardware stores and other places that we identify. But that's rolling out or getting set up this year, and we'll roll out next year.
Any other questions?
Okay. Chairman Renaud and Scott asked me to give a little update on Sustainability and Resource Conservation Department. This was done previously for past chair and vice chair, but not for the committee as a whole. So I will run through really quickly some of the work of the department, or not. Departmental work, of course, is mandated. There's some that's directed by this board or most prior boards, as well as some additional duties. Those functions, of course, are like many departments, both internal and external facing. So here you see the green crew and also an accepted materials list. All of that is to help both internal and either coworkers or residents with stewardship, supporting internal sustainability plan and helping coworkers and businesses and residents with waste diversion, and also helping with community-led initiatives like the Regional Food Council and other partnerships. I'll walk you through a few of those more specifically. Most of the mandated or required work is going to be around the solid waste plan and its updates, solid waste budget, or diversion as a whole is most of the mandated work. A number of the collections are through the IEPA. There's also the commercial recycling ordinance, and then just the education around those 3 R's, reducing, reusing, and recycling. With collections, we do have 2 sponsored drop-off collections for household recyclables, and then a number of those special waste collections are partnered with IEPA or other partner agencies to reduce cost. So unit of local government tire collections that I just mentioned, household hazardous waste collections are in partnership with the IEPA. We're one of their partner agencies, although they don't have a hauler for this year, so we're on hold a little bit. And then also, I adopt into the Consumer Electronics Recycling Act for the county every year so that we can do electronics recycling a little bit easier. And we have that permanent site in Kusakowski and also reduced collection costs for municipalities. Education, presentations, of course, the online resources, but also newsletters, social media, lending library resources for teachers, and helping any community partners sharing their information and supporting their events as well. For the reporting aspect, the solid waste budget is required to be reported to the IEPA every year, along with compliance with Resource Conservation and Recovery Act laws. And then, like anything, of course, partnerships are a key component to the success of any of those collections. And we have a number of partnerships with townships and community groups to help to make that a little bit easier. Along with the solid waste, I kind of skipped over the most important part that I was supposed to talk about in the first slide, so I'll do that now. The department was formed in the early 90s, really in a response to the Illinois General Assembly's Solid Waste Planning Act of 1988, which required counties with populations over 100,000 to deal with solid waste diversion in their own counties, recycling 15% and 25%, 15% by the 3rd year of adoption and 25% by the 5th year of adoption. And that was met. At the time when the department was formed, it was the Solid Waste Management Department of Peoria County Government. It's gone through a few name changes. For a while, it was Recycling, Resource Conservation. I think that was 2000 or 2001. And then in 2014, the department name did change to Sustainability and Resource Conservation, with the key mandated duties still being that solid waste management plan. The 20-year plans that are required were adopted in 95 and 2015. There are 5-year updates in between if any changes were made to that plan, or just sort of a status update of we're working it, here's where we're falling behind, here's where we're ahead of the game, knowing that there's going to be legislation that's been kind of thrown in there too, sort of help out, speed up some sections and slow down other sections a little bit. Prior board directed initiatives, sustainability plan was adopted in 2011 for internal operations and looks at 6 different areas of county government. CPACE, Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy, was adopted in 2021, or actually 2019. The plan was put in place in terms of how it would be implemented in 2021. And then the Regional Food Council was also something looking at the local food economy and that sort of thing, was prior board directed as well. part of that internal sustainability plan, a big part of it is the utility tracking. As reported today, it's getting easier as time goes on because all the portals are making it super easy. Researching incentives for and identifying grants and partners for energy conservation. So since 2021, when I moved in the coordinator position, $219,000 in incentives have been funded through Ameren through their custom large incentive project, their natural gas for the public sector project, and mechanical studies for the JLJDC. Prior to that, a number of things were done as well, but it was mostly lighting, and those were instant incentives. Only one grant was received at that point in 2018 for a staffing grant, which was based on realized savings, and that was just $1,800. Green Crew is listed on here. That's our conserving resources and educating workers is our green team. So that was founded shortly after adoption of the plan, and that really looks at education and events and helping the employees know what they can divert and where to take items, as well as hosting a few events throughout the year. Other duties would be that commercial property assessed clean energy, again, education at this point. Education through the Farm Bureau that I just mentioned, but also I've presented to some design firms and Central Illinois energy engineers as sort of the folks that are, on the streets to talk to people about, hey, did you know about CPACE and could you use it? The Regional Food Council, I serve as the co-chair along with Tazewell County Health Department's administrator and staff from the University of Illinois Extension, and that is really education based, but it is there are 6 different areas of that plan, looking at of the Food Council, looking at policy and planning, production, marketplace, healthy eating, waste recovery. That's sort of where I plug in, and making sure that composting is being done and helping farmers to be able to do that, and looking at good food recovery. And collecting from community gardens and gleaning and that sort of thing to get food to the hungry, as opposed to just wasting it. And then you probably have seen sometimes partner agencies are hosting events, or we're hosting events ourselves through the Regional Food Council in terms of education or making sure people are taking advantage of grants. And then internal recycling and composting also. Additional duties, these are either community requested or the administrator directed things. I am the county's employee lead for the United Way campaign, also participate in Team Peoria County, which is tons of fun. And then there's, of course, a number of administrative duties, just doing the budget and paying the bills and answering the phone and all that good stuff that also, of course, happens. And it's really it. Questions?
Do we have any questions about what Becca does, I guess?
Interesting.
Not just
A
part of
little
it.
bit of
Yeah. We really appreciate everything that you do.
Up here.
I'll just hold for the resolution.
Yeah. All right. We have one resolution that is approving the 2024 budget for the city county landfills. So can I get a motion to put that on the floor? Thank you, Sharon, in a second. Thank you, Betty.
Yeah, I can take this one.
Okay, great. I'll just leave the phone.
Yeah, that way folk can hear me. I'll talk real loud. So this is something that both the county board and the city council are charged with doing on an annual basis. We collectively and collaboratively have a city county landfill committee that is the operator of the landfill, and then the landfill committee contracts with someone to actually do the day-to-day operations. Landfill 2, the contractor is Waste Management. Landfill 3, the contract award E is GFL. We can have a separate conversation about just exactly when landfill 3 is going to go live versus not at another time. But what you see before you is the FY24 budget for the landfill committee. It has $453,000 in change in revenue and roughly $531,000 in expenditures. They do have reserves to cover that shortfall. The expenditures are an increase compared to normal, and that's a reflection of some added engineering costs from FOF Engineering, which is the landfill committee's engineer subject matter expert as it relates to the pending closure of landfill 2, which will be sometime this fall. Probably in October, but the exact date is yet to be set. Happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chair.
Do you have any questions? So the deficit is not gonna be in perpetuity, just.
Correct. These are more one-time expenditures associated with that closure of landfill 2.
All right, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next we have, oh, sorry, Phil, thank you. Didn't mean to forget about you, Phil.
That's all right.
I appreciate you. Public comment. Anything for miscellaneous?
After
Yes.
the committee.
Okay, yeah. Anybody have anything for miscellaneous? It's about business. Okay.
Any good response to some conversations the chairman and I were having, or maybe it was last time at the committee? Monica and I have been working to schedule a hard hat tour of the Health and Human Services building. Tentatively, we'll look at multiple days because we'll look at the county board, the Board of Health, and then team members in the offices that are going to be working in the building. So exact dates have not been set yet, but we're looking at multiple dates during the first and second week of April. From a time of day perspective, you can assume that it will be somewhere between 3:30 and 5. Construction crews or workforce start very early in the day. They normally are done by 3:30. That way, the building site will be there'll be very little, if any, activity while we're there, and that will decrease the opportunity for any safety issues that might arise from having large groups on property walking through the construction site. So no construction activity will be going on while we're giving tours. So more to come on that, but just at a high level, be thinking about the first 2 weeks of April. There'll be multiple opportunities, and it'll be towards the end of the business day.
We definitely don't want to impede any work. We want to keep it going. But yeah, we thought it was important for everybody to get out, get to put their feet on the property and see the progress that's happening.
It's looking good
It is.
from the street at least.
When we were there for the beam raising, I was thinking, oh, did we build that big enough? Because it seemed really small. And then you actually step inside the building, and you're like, whoa, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was. It looked initially. So it's exciting to see. Anything else? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.